Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope y'all are having a happy Halloween. And seeing as how today, as of the day that I am recording this video, October 25th, is the 45th anniversary of the release of the one, the only, the classic, John Carpenter's Halloween, it gave me an idea. 3 ideas, actually. So through the rest of this month, all leading up to Halloween Day, you will be getting 3 new videos from me regarding the Halloween franchise. 3 rankings. 1, obviously, is going to be now definitively ranking all 13 Halloween films, which that video will come out on the 31st. But the 2 videos to follow are going to be some rather interesting ones and they're topics that I'm surprised haven't come up much in the Halloween fandom. In today's video, I am going to be ranking from worst to best the 7 Halloween jack-o'-lantern opening credit visual sequences. There are 7 of them to talk about, and the way that they will be ranked is going to be based off of their visuals, and sort of the score, even though the score is going to be saved for a separate video, as well as just the pacing and the flow, and does the visual work for what they're going for. And then the second video to follow this is going to be a ranking of all 14 Halloween soundtracks, the scores of each and every film from worst to best. Yes, I'm saying 14, even though there are 13 films, because as you know, there are 2 separate cuts of Halloween 6. And the scores are different enough that I do want to talk about them, judge them, and rank them separately on their own. So with that being said, let's get started in today's video. Comment down below how you would rank the 7 Halloween jack-o'-lantern opening credit sequences from worst to best. So let's get started. Now coming in last place is actually going to be the opening credits of Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Now I'm going to be honest, I almost considered not even including this one for the list just because it's so drastically different from all the other actual jack-o'-lantern credit sequences, the really iconic ones. But I figured, you know what? There is a jack-o'-lantern visual there, and it has the music and the build-up, and there is a really neat visual in it, so I figured, yeah, I would include it. And what I do like about this credit sequence, honestly, is the little flash effects that go on. You see the knife cutting the pumpkin, and it's all in the darkness, and then it eventually shows the end result. That's actually pretty creative, I will admit, rather than the standard usual opening credit sequences we've gotten with the other films. So kudos for creativity. Now, what puts it in last place, honestly, for me, is that aside from the visuals being very good and all that, the music and the score is just very dull. And I guess that goes for the entire movie itself, but just talking about the opening credits, it's a dull opening that lacks the atmosphere of the opening of Halloween 4, which was fantastic in the way that it subverted what we usually expect out of a Halloween movie opening. So, except for this one part with the score, this one bit with the score actually gave me chills as a kid when I watched it, and I do admit it is still actually pretty creepy. But yeah, overall, despite a pretty dull music score, what does save it for me is that the creativity with the visuals and the jack-o'-lantern, showing them cutting it up and all that, it is actually pretty good. So yeah, this is at number 7. At number 6 for me was honestly a bit of a toss-up between this and number 7, and that's going to be the opening credits from the original Halloween 2 from 1981. Now, this is sort of a flip and reversal of the reason why I put Halloween 5 at number 7. Whereas the visuals in the opening of Halloween 5 are really good, but the score was very weak. For here with Halloween 2, the score is fantastic, but the visual with the jack-o'-lantern, I'm not the biggest fan of, at least not anymore. Like, I don't know. Like, I think it's just paced out too long, you know. It gets due credit for trying to do right by the original by trying to emulate that same visual with the jack-o'-lantern getting closer to the screen and all that. But something about this one just feels like I said, it feels too drawn out. The ending of this sequence, though, is fantastic. The way it opens up and then you see this webbed up skull inside of the pumpkin. That part is fantastic, I will admit. But other than that, this is just... It's not a bad one. I should have prefaced this at the beginning of the video. None of these are entirely bad opening sequences for the visuals. It's just something about this one that's just aged the least for me. So this is at number 6. Now from here on out, with these next 5, these ones are all entirely fantastic. Pretty much 10 out of 10, no complaints. I love everything about them, from the music to the visuals that they go for. So with that being said, my number 5, and this is going to surprise y'all, because if you watch my channel, y'all know how much I love this movie. My number 5 is going to be the opening credits of Halloween Kills. Now, what I love so much about the opening credits and the visuals in this sequence, as well as the ones of all the films in this new trilogy, I'll just say right off the bat, is that each of the 3 in the trilogy, they all say something, either thematically or symbolically. And in the case of Halloween Kills, with the visuals in these opening credits, is with the several pumpkins slowly coming out of the darkness, then slowly burning up and setting on fire. The way it symbolizes the stupid decisions that all the characters in this movie make, and how it gets them all killed, as well as just the whole mob mentality angle, and how the town loses itself and all the chaos, and they're getting each other killed as a result. Love the shit out of this. But just the visual on its own, you know, putting the symbolism aside, the visuals on its own, with the pumpkins all set ablaze and all that, it's a fucking metal as hell visual that I got chills when I saw this in the theater the first time. I saw this with my sister in an AMC theater on a Dolby screen with the sound cranked up and all that. It was fantastic. And even talking about the score for a second and how I think it adds to the impact of this one is how slow and haunting the tone that it gives off. You would think that a movie like this, with how intense and brutal this movie is, it's called Halloween Kills, the goriest film of the series, Michael's biggest body count, you'd think that it would have some kind of intense, metal, even metal as hell kind of theme. Not like literal like heavy metal theme, but just an intense metal as hell theme. You get what I mean? But I think it works as is, with the haunting, softer tone it gives off, because I think it better emulates the darkness and the intensity of everything going on. The town being in chaos, Michael being at his most deadly since Halloween 4. So I think it works perfectly with what they're going for. So there's that also. Now you may be asking yourself, if I love this one particular this much, that deeply, why is it only at number 5? As I mentioned before, everything number 5 onward, are all perfect, 10 out of 10 with the visuals and even the music. So, yeah. So it's not so much that it commits any particular sins or that I have any issues that I hold against it. It's just, I guess you could say it's a matter of semantics. You know, one's got to go in number 5, one's got to go in number 4, and there are ones that I feel top the quality of this, which is saying a lot because, again, these are all 10 out of 10 perfection. So, as a result, this one is at number 5. Now, at number 4 is another one that I almost didn't include on the list. But the more I thought about it, and with the creative way that it emulates a jack-o'-lantern visual, I figured, you know what, yeah, it deserves a spot somewhere on this list. So, my number 4 is going to be the opening credits of Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Now, what's really cool about this one in particular is that after 2 back-to-back films, with the first film and the second film with the same visual with the jack-o'-lantern opening, so it leaves audiences thinking they know what to expect. I like how this film switches it up with the more digitized score that goes through it, as well as the computerized look for the pumpkin, and the way that it actually ties in to what's going on story-wise in the movie. That's all kick-ass. Like, for as much hate as this movie gets for not having Michael Myers in it, but that's a topic for another time. This is just one of the many things that I feel doesn't get enough credit, you know. For as much as the defenders of this movie do give credit to the story itself and with Cochran as the villain, I think this is one of the best things in the movie is with the opening credits. So, not much else to say, but it's an underrated aspect to the movie that I think kicks major ass. So, it's at number 4. And at number 3, we have the opening credits for Halloween 2018. Or as I and many other fans have come to call it, Halloween Returns. And while it may only be number 3 on my list, this one is honestly the most special one of the entire franchise to me because of what it symbolizes. As I mentioned before, how each of the opening credits of the films in this trilogy say something either symbolically or thematically. What this film symbolizes is that, alright, we're ignoring all the prior sequels of the past. We're gonna fix everything, fix all the plot holes, the messy mythology, just do away with all that, bring it back to basics. And what better way to do that? By connecting it directly to the original than with the crushed jack-o'-lantern reinvigorating itself to reveal itself to visually be the jack-o'-lantern of the original film, and it's rising back up, reinvigorating itself, symbolizing how all the stuff the franchise has been put through with 5, 6, Resurrection, just the utter incompetence of the past. And this is them finally saying, we're back, bitches, and we're gonna get it right this time. Love it. Perfection. Nothing else to say. It kicks ass. Alrighty, people. Top 2. By process of elimination, if you know the films, then you know which ones are left. But which one is going where? Now you may be thinking, well, of course, the answer is obvious. Not as much as you may think, because number 2 of these opening credit sequences is actually going to be the original John Carpenter's Halloween. Now you might be thinking, Zach, how dare you? Not number 1? Now hear me out for a sec. What works about this one is what works about the film as a whole. The execution of excellence through simplicity. What we have here is very simple. You got the creepy John Carpenter score in the background. And then you just have this jack-o'-lantern slowly getting closer to the screen. And it gives you chills. That's all you need. They knew what they were doing when they were executing this film. They wanted this film to open with the hook, with a bang. And while visually it may not be anything extravagant or overly bold like some of the other ones on this list, it's simple but excellent. And that's all it needed to do. It's a visual that, like the entirety of the film itself, has stood the test of time and will forever be iconic. And coming in at number 1. Oh, I know this is gonna piss so many people off, given the reputation of this film. But I'm sorry. The number 1 best jack-o'-lantern opening credit sequence in the entire franchise, in my opinion, is from Halloween Ends. Now look, for the sake of this particular discussion, like it or hate it, just talking purely about the opening credit sequence in this film, for the visuals and even the score, let us give the film some due credit here. In my opinion, these are the best visuals that the franchise has ever given for a jack-o'-lantern opening credit sequence. The sheer creativity with how the pumpkins all form and come out of one another in various ways, and how they all look different. And if you even look very closely, one of the pumpkins in there is the jack-o'-lantern from the original film, once again making an appearance. Now, talking thematically and symbolically about how the credits of this film in the trilogy visually say something, is how the way that the pumpkins all come out of one another and form into different looking ones, supporting the film's theme of how evil and darkness can form and grow in different people. Evil doesn't die, it changes shape. And the visuals in this credit sequence emulate that perfectly. And even the score by John Carpenter in this one, I think, plays a major factor into why this is my favorite one. While in terms of the score, it's not my favorite score of the franchise, you'll find out which one that is in my second video, but in the context of this film, Halloween Ends, you want to create a version of the Halloween theme that sounds final, given the context that this film is finally, properly closing out the storyline with Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, closing out that story connected that was started in the original 1978 film. You want to create a version of the Halloween theme that sounds final, epic, but still new and different, and not treading any old ground as far as what the themes have sounded like in the past. And I think they do that fantastically here. I love the theme in this film. I just think that they perfectly emulated with the theme alone that this is it. This is the finale, the final chapter of this storyline. The story of Halloween as we know it, the saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, the story connected to the original film, is finally gonna have its proper close. So with that in consideration, and also the fact that it has, in my opinion, the coolest looking visuals of any opening credit sequence in any of the Halloween films with the jack-o'-lanterns, yeah, it easily comes in at number 1. So comment down below how you would rank the 7 Jack-O-Lantern Halloween opening credit sequences from worst to best. And also look forward to my second video in this little series that I have created, where next time I am going to be ranking the 14 soundtracks of the Halloween franchise, the whole complete soundtracks of each film, not just the main theme, but the soundtracks as a whole. I'm going to rank them from worst to best, and that video should be coming out within the next couple of days, and then it will all be culminated on the 31st with my now definitive ranking of all 13 Halloween films from worst to best. Thank you all for watching. If you are finding my channel for the first time, like, comment, and subscribe. And with that being said, I will see y'all next time. Take care.